will be last with the challengers first. That would apply only to District 3. Candidates will be introduced by myself. Upon opening comments and rebuttals from all races, we'll go district by district. Then questions from league members and chamber GAC members will be asked. They are submitted in writing to Mr. Davis Rankin, who will be canvassing the questions and asking the questions. The questions cannot be longer than 30 seconds. Answers by the candidates can be no longer than 1 minute. Our timekeeper, Judith Saldivar, will signal you at 30 seconds, again at 5 seconds, and then stop. After that, if you're in mid-sentence, fine, but then Jerry will cut your microphone. So everybody please adhere to that. It is indeed my pleasure to introduce the candidates for Commissioner District 1, Mr. Tony Aguirre Jr.,
Yes.
Lucia Thompson, and Timothy Wilkins.
Hello.
For District 3, Mario Reyna, Delma Thames, and Omar Quintanilla, the incumbent. For District 6, Lawrence Esparza, Mara Gutierrez, Andrew Perez, Andres Salinas, and Pepe Cabeza de Vaca. Thank y'all all very much for your participation and commitment to the city of McAllen. We will now start with opening. Oh, by the way, District 2 is uncontested. So for sake of time, he will not be speaking this morning with us. So we'll start out with District 1, Mr. Tony Aguirre. 2-minute opening comments, sir.
Good afternoon. I would like to thank the McAllen Citizens League and the McAllen Chamber for hosting this event. I would also like to thank everyone who has already exercised your voting privilege. My name is Tony Aguirre, and I have lived in District 1 for 30 years. I have also lived in South and Central McAllen. I know all areas of this city I love. The job of a McAllen City Commissioner is serious. Commissioners are tasked with keeping us all safe, protecting our hard-earned money, strategically planning the city's physical and economic growth, and helping our local businesses survive COVID and thrive moving forward. My role as a city commissioner is to always provide you with an avenue to freely express your opinion, your concerns, and your ideas. For 27 years, I served on the McAllen Public Utility Board, which provides water and sewer for McAllen residents. I have also served on the City of McAllen's Audit and Investment Committee and on the boards of the McAllen Economic Development Corporation, the McAllen Chamber, the Boys and Girls Club of McAllen, the McAllen JCs, and VITA, as well as committees for Teach for America and Holy Spirit Catholic Church, amongst others. Service is a way of life for me. I've been a small business owner throughout my life and a residential property developer for years. My public service, coupled with my career, allows me to get to work for you on day one on the McAllen City Commission. I am always and will always understand water, sewer, traffic, drainage, affordable housing, and most other issues that come before the commission. Without a doubt, I have things to learn, but I am your D1 candidate whose learning curve will definitely be the shortest.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
Ms. Thompson, please.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us today. I also want to say, for those of you that have not gone out to vote, don't forget 7 p.m. tonight is the closing time. We'll be there all week. through Saturday at Lark Community Center and Fireman's over off of South 2nd and Business 83. A little bit about myself is that I am a mother of 3 with one a senior and my youngest 4. I am also an attorney who's board certified in family law. There are only 6 lawyers in this county with that distinction. I am the only female under the age of 65 with that distinction. I'm a hard worker. I'm a good reader. I also deal with lots of people and different types of people. I am also a certified mediator, specifically in family law. That is all I do. And in family law, a lot of the cases I have are multi-million-dollar estates, high-profile custody cases, very emotional custody cases. And as a mediator, my success rate is about 95%. And I attribute that to the fact that I'm able to sit down with people, connect with people, and hear what their problems are and try to find a solution. And typically, we do find a solution. On top of that, whenever the family law cases get to be a bit too emotional, because they are, I will take on commercial litigation cases. I was part of the team of lawyers that represented First Hartford and Edinburgh against Simon Property. I've been a part of multi-million-dollar personal injury cases as well. And the reason I am running for District 1 is because I am here wanting to be a role model for the next generation of people that are coming up through the leadership ranks to say, I can do this and I want to do this. I also want to be a good example to those who want to serve and say, if this is where you want to be and this is what you want to do, start taking those steps and get it done. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Very good. Timothy Wilkins, please.
Hi, I'm going to jump right into it. I'm block walking right now. Voter turnout is trending at around 7 or 8%. That's ridiculously low. So I'm spending my time trying to knock on doors to get people to turn out to vote, because the vote is the most important thing. By way of who I am, I'm a father of 3. I was born here in McAllen. My mother's from Elsa. I've got boys 6, 4, and 2. My family's been here for generations, spanning 100 years. And I am undoubtedly the most passionate person in this race. You've probably seen me in the news past few days because I exposed a major flaw with McAllen's voting system. They've taken steps to correct that. But the fact that the flaw was even presented the way it was is a testament that there are some things that need to be done drastically different at City Hall. And I'm the type of person that will sacrifice myself to ask the questions, the appropriate questions, and demand the appropriate answers so we get to a better place. It's not about being right. It's not about being disruptive. It's about making sure that sometimes you have to ask what, where, why, how. And if we're doing the right thing, those questions are irrelevant because somebody will have an answer. But if you can't ask that question, or if somebody doesn't want to answer that question, that's when you need somebody like me on a city commission to make sure that those questions are asked so your interests are better protected. If I get elected, I'm applying for a job. I want to be your voice. I will be your voice on a city commission and speak on behalf of you to make sure that the city we all live in and love continues to be a city we all live in and love and don't want to leave. My platform really centers around a donut. People call me the Donut Man. It's catchy and funny, but there's a method to that madness. I'd invite all of you to go to whythedonut.com, watch my intro video. It speaks to why I have pink donuts all over my signs. My cell phone number is 956-624.
Thank you, sir. Now we'll go back for follow-up comments. 1 minute, Mr. Tony Aguirre.
Chris, you let Tony go 5 seconds over his time and you shut me off. So thanks a lot. Nothing I didn't expect from you. Have a good day.
I didn't shut you off, sir. Tony.
Yes, sir.
1 minute, sir. You get a follow-up. Any additional comments?
Well, I just want to say that I would like for people to get out and vote. It has been slow these last 3 days. This morning I was there early and till around 10:30, and again, it was slow. I'd really also like to encourage all of the younger voters to come and vote. I've seen a trend of older voters out there, and it's time for us to get everybody involved. I'd really encourage everyone to to do their part, call people to go out, express themselves, and go out and vote. Again, this has been interesting for everyone. Running a campaign and running for an elected spot is not what we're all comfortable doing. We want to do things. We're workers. There's a lot to do out here, and all I can do is I'm going to pledge myself to be your spokesperson and work hard at what I do. That's what I do all day.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Thompson, please. 1 minute.
I think it's important that we not only tell people to go vote, but that we tell people to educate themselves about the district that they live in. It's surprising how many people don't even know which district they live in. Go out, look at the maps. On the City of McAllen website, you can find a map. I'm sure on any of the 3 candidates or any of the candidates on today, they have their maps as well. Get on, see which district you live in, and even if you don't, come out and vote for mayor. Come out and educate yourself about the 3 candidates. We're all accessible. We're all available. Everybody's got their cell phone numbers available. Get out and find out who it is that you like, who you can engage with, and decide who you want to vote for. But please exercise your voice.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Tim, if you're still with us, you get 1 minute and 5 seconds.
No, I don't want the 5. Whythedonut.com or McAllendistrict1.com has all of my on all the different policy spots. I've been championing stricter control over illegal immigration with regard to our city's involvement in it, lower property taxes, better traffic flow by synchronizing the traffic, the street lights, and using foresight to strategically widen some of these roadways that we know are going to need to be widened within the next 10 years. I'd rather go ahead and do it now while money is cheap. And by cheap, I mean 1 or 2% interest rates versus 10 or 12% interest rates, which is most likely where they'll be in 10 or 15 years. We need to have somebody in here using foresight instead of hindsight. And with foresight, to get there, you get there by asking questions. You get there by asking the what, where, why, how, trying to determine where it is we think we need to be, where we know we have deficiencies and things we need to do. And right now we should be running 110 miles an hour with doing infrastructure projects, repaving, roadway widening, utilizing cheap money so we can get our city where it needs to be. Have a good day. See you. Bye.
Thank you, sir. We'll now move on to District 3, starting with Mario Reyna. 2 minutes, sir.
Okay, thank you so much for allowing us to be here today. So basically, a little bit about me. I'm from the Valley. I grew up in the Mission Alton area. I moved into McAllen in 2006. I am married. I have a son and a daughter, Lydia and Mario, and I have a beautiful granddaughter by the name of Mariah. So a little bit about my military life. I joined the Air Force in 1976. I got commissioned in 1985. Being an officer in any military organization is not an easy proposition. So I'm glad to say that I was one of them. And so throughout my military life, I attended many schools. Another leadership school that I attended was something that we call Squadron Officer School, which is for captains. This was like an 8-9 week long process. To become an officer is a 12-week process. So, I went all over the world and with the Air Force. And when I got out, I came to STC. I joined STC in September of 1996. It was a small community college when I arrived, maybe 3,000 students. When I left, we had over 32,000 students. So while I was there, obviously, I was the dean for business, public safety, and technology. We didn't have a lot of programs. I developed most of the programs that are in the business, public safety, and technology. And so the last great thing that I think we did was the Regional Center for Public Safety Excellence, which is in FAR. This campus will take care of all public safety and the fire programs. So that is, I think, is going to be a very tremendous asset to the community. I'm here because I believe in prosperity. I'm here because I believe that McAllen can become a destination city. I'm here because I believe that we can give our citizens a better quality of life. We need better traffic, better parks, and better drainage.
Mario, thank you very much. We next have Delma Thames.
Good morning, and thank you so much for hosting this. My name is Delma Thames. I'm currently running for McAllen City Commissioner District 3. I'm actually right now sitting off from the poll sites. I really want to go ahead and definitely use some time to encourage voters to come out. The environment between the candidates here is extremely peaceful. Everybody's hoping to be able to see voters to come out. We truly do encourage and value that the vote is extremely important. That's how we're going to be able to get state recognition. That's how we're going to be able to get at the federal attention. I am running for McAllen District 3. I've been in the district. I'm a lifetime resident. I went to Alvarez, Lincoln, Nicky Rowe, and then I did some basics at STC, and also I graduated from UT RGV. Throughout that time, I've been with T-Mobile for 14 years. Started as a frontline expert and then moved up within the organizational ladder. One of my roles was to make sure that we were the best place to work in Texas and making sure that our employees were engaged. We were able to win second best place to work in Texas, which is extremely important on how we engage with our employees, which is also extremely important, something that I bring into making sure that we're engaging to our residents. One of the important things is anything that we do, we need to make sure that we're listening to our residents. One of the goals is to make sure that we're always creating focus groups and bringing them on board to make sure that anything that we're going to take about, any issue, any problem, we bring the expert matters, we bring the residents that are impacted, and then we create a long list and calibrate from there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Very good. And now our incumbent, Omar Quintanilla.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for hosting this event. My name is Omar Quintanilla, and I've had the privilege of being the District 3 Commissioner for the last 4 years. A little bit about myself. I graduated from St. Mary's University with a degree in business and an emphasis in corporate finance, and have been in banking for the last 22 years, helping the small business community find resources to help them grow. Immediately after returning to McAllen, after graduating from St. Mary's, I started to get involved with the city. And the first thing that I did was I was admitted to Leadership McAllen. I was a part of class 20. I think that was 16 years ago. During that time, you get to learn a lot about the city, the function, the various departments, and it was a great experience. And one of the things that they do is they recommend you continue your involvement, right? And so I joined the Community Development Advisory Board, where I was chairman of that board for 3 out of the 6 years. After that, I moved on to the Library Advisory Board, where I was also chairman of that board as well. And so I just continued serving the community. After that, Amigos del Valle, it's a nonprofit organization that helps seniors with the Meals on Wheels program and also with housing for seniors. And so we were able to help with them. And after that, I ran for office. And so I've been your commissioner for the last 4 years. We've made significant improvements in the district, notably drainage. The drainage system in McAllen is dramatically better today than it was 4 years ago when I started in office. And I'm very proud of that. We've made a number of significant other improvements, which I'll talk about during rebuttal time.
Thank you, Omar. Appreciate it. Let's go back up to Mario for 1 minute follow-up.
Thank you so much. You know, since I arrived at SDC, my responsibilities covered a 2-county area, Starr and Hidalgo County. So every campus that we had, I was responsible for all the programs in that area. So a lot of the things that I did since I arrived in 1996, I was involved with a lot of civic organizations. Mainly, initially, I was involved with the Mission Chamber. When I first arrived, I became the chairman of the board. Later, I was involved with the Valley Symphony. I was also the chairman of the board there. I was involved with the McAllen Economic Development Council. I was involved with the Mission Economic Development Authority. I was involved in the blood groups. I was involved in so many activities that I think my understanding of the Valley, because I was involved with everything from Roma to Bronzeville. I have a great understanding of what the valley needs. Of course, I have a great understanding of what the needs of McAllen are. So those are my contributions that I will bring immediately to the table, and I know that I will contribute significantly to the success of the city.
Very good, Mario. Thank you very much. Thelma, 1 minute follow-up, ma'am.
Thank you. One of the important things for me, I've been part of also Leadership McAllen 35. I've done Junior League. I've learned a lot about food security. But anytime that I want for our residents is to be able to review and audit and check, it's really like how impactful it is to be able to pivot and to move effectively and efficiently. That's one of my biggest skills and greatest competencies, in the sense that I'm a problem solver. One of my things is making sure that if there's an issue, even when there was a freeze, we were with no light power, let's get a food distribution, because ultimately our residents comes first. That's one of my biggest goals, to always make sure that we're putting our residents first, being able to pivot and being able to oversee regardless of what kind of issues or outcomes we're having. With any strategy, with any issue, you automatically set the timelines, identify the problem, and then we move forward. We need to move forward effectively. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, ma'am. Omar, 1 minute, sir.
Thank you. Yes, some of the other projects I'm proud of. Number one, small business assistance. During the pandemic, small businesses were affected. A lot of small businesses were affected, and we were able to use the CARES Act money to positively impact small businesses in McAllen. And I think we can do that again over the next few months. And I know that we have the resources to be able to do that. I'm proud of the Wi-Fi access that we did. In 70 days, we connected almost half of the city to the city's Wi-Fi program. I'm proud about that. Also, a beautification project on Vine and Ware Road. That area is really nice now, because of the efforts that we made to improve that area. I think what is most needed at this point is number one, continued support of small businesses, a refocus on economic opportunity. We need better jobs, more jobs, and we need to provide property tax relief for the residents of McAllen.
Thank you, Omar. We'll now move on to District 6 and start with Lawrence Esparza. Larry, are you with us?
Yes, sir. Good morning, Christopher. How are you?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
Just fine. Thank you. Thank you to the Citizens League and the Greater Chamber of Commerce from McAllen for hosting this. My name is Larry Esparza. I'm your candidate for McAllen City Commission District 6. Over the last 8 years, you have trusted me to serve as your MISD trustee for the largest employer in the city of McAllen. We have an operating budget of over $242 million. During my time on the board, we've worked with our county, our city, and our state officials to form partnerships to improve life, quality of services for our residents in the city of McAllen. We've worked on drainage projects with the city. We've worked on Wi-Fi projects with the city and the county. I've worked with multiple officials across the valley, across the state, and I think that's key to having our district and our city grow. We need to form those partnerships and work together. I offer you my leadership experience as your trustee and now future city commissioner for the city of McAllen. I hope I can count on your vote. And as all the other candidates mentioned earlier, please exercise your right. Take a friend out to vote. The turnout has been a little slow, but we've got a couple more days left. So please exercise your right to vote and get out there. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, we'll have Myra Gutierrez. Is Myra with us? Hello, going once, going twice. We'll move on to our next candidate, Andrew Perez. Oh, that's Larry again. Is Andrew with us? Mr. Perez? Nope. Next candidate, Andres Salinas. Is Mr. Salinas with us? Mr. Salinas? Going once, going twice. Out of here. Pepe Cabeza de Vaca.
Good afternoon.
Hey, there he is.
How you guys doing?
2
Good
minutes, sir.
afternoon. Thank you. Thank you so much for the McAllen Citizens League and the McAllen Chamber of Commerce for giving us the opportunity and this time to talk to the residents and citizens of McAllen. As mentioned by the chairman, my name is Pepe Cabeza de Vaca. I'm a son of McAllen. I was born here in the city of McAllen, McAllen General Hospital. Now City Hall is where I was born. Attended McAllen Memorial High School, class of 92. Attended the University of Monterrey in public relations and mass communications. And I'm a father of 4, 3 kids at McAllen Memorial High School and 1 in pre-K, Pepito, 4 years old. And I have plenty of experience in the city. So I'll start with, I'm in my 12th year on the City of McAllen Planning and Zoning Board. Actually, I'm the chairman for the past 6 years of the McAllen Planning and Zoning. I have, this is my 7th year as the Assistant Chief of Staff for Hidalgo County, first with Precinct 2 with Commissioner Eddie Cantu, and now with Precinct 1 with Commissioner David Fuentes. I have 6 years on my 7th year of experience in crisis management. We do a lot of crisis management in the county. I have over 20 years of business experience. I started Social Life magazine in 2004, just sold it into 2018. That magazine got many accolades as Business of the Year. I got Businessman of the Year by the McAllen Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and then in the state as well. I have 17 years of experience as a board member or volunteer for different nonprofits, including the Boys and Girls Club, PADAP, American Cancer Society. Actually, I was first vice president for the McAllen Citizens League for some years, very proud of that as well. And I have all those tools. This experience is the experience that counts because all of this has been focused on city. My experience in the county is good in that matters, infrastructure, and the Planning and Zoning Board is in charge of the proper growth.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go back to Larry with a 1-minute follow-up. Mr. Esparza.
Thank you, Christopher. I just want to follow up and say that I've been a resident here for the last 32 years. I've served as a teacher here in McAllen. I'm a parent. I've worked as an administrator. I'm currently an attorney, the chief attorney for our public defender's office. I've worked with multiple agencies throughout the valley and through the state to make sure that valuable services are provided to our residents. I'll continue to do so. I think that's key. We saw it with some other organizations throughout the valley that joined forces. I think we all agree that there's power in numbers. And if we want to be heard up in Austin, we need to work together and continue working together. Over the last year, we've suffered a lot. We've learned a lot. And I think we know that it's key thing to remember is we need to be prepared for all kinds of situations. And that takes proper planning. We've done it with our school district. We were prepared. You create a strategic plan for the future, for growth. We've done that with our technology when all the other districts were trying to purchase laptops.
Thank you, sir. Pepe, 1-minute follow-up, sir.
Thank you. So as part of my platform, drainage is very important. The support for small business in McAllen is very important. The increase of Wi-Fi accessibility to the district is very important. The improvement of traffic is very important. The improvement of parks and green spaces and making inclusive for people with disabilities is very important. That's part of my platform. I'm going to do that very fiscally responsible. I'm very fiscally responsible on that. In the county level, I have contacts, and I'm in contact every time with state and federal officials. So that gives me a good relationship with them. I've been endorsed by the McAllen Firefighter Association. I've been endorsed by the McAllen Police Association. I've been endorsed by 4 members of the McAllen ISD already, and the Super Mayor of the Planning and Zoning Board. Not included Ms. Dora Brown, Joe Brown, Ernie Williams, who is a PUB member, Albert Cardenas, who is a PUB member, and Blandina Cardenas, the former president of UTPA, also endorsed me officially. I think it tells you a lot about my leadership, about the things that I can do for the city, and let's move the city forward.
Bingo. Thank you very much. Candidates, thank you very much for your comments. We'll now move into our question and answer period. Hopefully, Mr. Davis Rankin has joined us. Ah, there he is. Unmute, please.
I'm unmuted.
Okay. Again, these questions are going to be directed to every candidate across the board, so we have equal time accordingly. The question is no more than 30 seconds. I know Davis will get that done properly. And the answers no longer than 1 minute. We will start at the very top with Mr. Aguirre and go down the list throughout all of the districts. Mr. Davis, first question, please, sir.
First question involves drainage. We've heard drainage concerns mentioned by you candidates, some of you candidates. What do you regard as the state of, and we're coming into the rainy season, God willing. What do you see as the state of drainage in McAllen now? And can you contrast it to the county system? But mainly, how do you think it is now?
We'll start with Mr. Tony Aguirre. 1 minute, sir.
Well, it's definitely in progress, but it should have started earlier, without a doubt. We do have projects going on Dove Street and all going all the way to from 2nd Street all the way to 10th Street. It's in progress. It should finish by the early summer. We also have on Auburn Street all the way from close to 23rd Street all the way down to with the new 33rd Street that's being done, and that suffered a tremendous amount of water problems, and it's taking care of that area. We also the city is saying that we should finish that also by late May to early June. There's been tremendous amount of growth in District 3 with the expansion of the drainage, but there is a lot of work that needs to be done, and I pledge myself to definitely do it and more.
Lucia Thompson, please.
Yes, I'm sorry, I was on mute. I think the current status of the issues that we've had in McAllen, I think are getting better. I think, like Mr. Aguirre said, I agree with him. We should have done this earlier. I think initially the drainage bond that we had in 2018 of approximately 22 million, I think there's only one pending in McAllen, in my district, District 1, which is, I think it's called the Northwest Blue Line. And out of those, primarily, like Mr. Aguirre said, it's District 3 that's pending, the larger ones that still haven't been completed. I think it definitely has to be a cohesive movement between the city and the county to accomplish that. Otherwise, no matter what you do in the city of McAllen, if the county's not addressing it, then we're still going to be stuck in the same situation. But it's something that I also pledge to work on with the county and collaborate with them as well.
Very good. Thank you, ma'am. Tim Wilkins, are you still with us? Hello, Tim. He's gone. We'll move on to District 3 now. Mario Reyna. 1 minute, sir.
We're still talking about drainage?
Yes, sir. Same question.
Yeah, of course. No, obviously, when I walk around our neighborhoods in District 3, I noticed a lot of our residents have sandbags. So I asked them, why do you need sandbags? They said, we're concerned about the next storm. So obviously that is a big issue. Even where I live, there was a storm, unnamed storm some time ago, and the water came all the way to almost to my front door. So there is a concern in the District 3 about homes being flooded. So we need to make sure that we have the projects in place so we can address them. I know that there was an expansion of the drainage, I call it drainage ditch next to on Taylor and 495. So there's some expansion going on there. So they're building extra capacity, and that is great. I think we need to make sure that all the areas that need additional capacity to get it, so folks don't have to have sandbags at the ready for the next storm.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Tamaz.
With drainage and with any kind of infrastructure, you're always going to have to be in the developing stage. We're always going to have to be growing and improving. Great job, tremendous work that the District 3 in City of McAllen and the county just recently did in District 3. We're hoping that once we get some rain, we're able to see how good that worked out. But one of the things is that it's extremely important is like, as residents, we need to be aware that we're always going to make sure that their leadership is going to keep growing for us to make sure that we're using the county resources and also the federal resource. Another thing that's extremely important is that we're always communicating whenever there's a nature impact that's going to be impacting our area. Anything from like a hurricane, anything from like a cold, anything that, and us as residents, for us to be extremely aware of what's going to happen and to prepare for the storms. Because sometimes we do know that, hey, a storm is coming and we are like, no, it's not going to happen. Like, they'll go another way. Please make sure to be safe. Please make sure to always listen to the message that's being delivered, the instructions that's being delivered, because as much as there's improvement, there's always going to be a delay on the changes. Thank you.
Ma'am. Yes. Mr. Quintanilla, please.
Thank you for that question. The drainage system in McAllen and in District 3 is dramatically better today than it was when I entered office in 2017. If you recall, in 2018, a bond proposal was submitted before the voters and approved. And shortly thereafter, we got to work and at Lincoln, which is on Pecan, an RDF was created to increase capacity. We just celebrated the expansion of the Mission Lateral that comes up to Benson Road. And we partnered with the county on that. And we also added a project on Vine and 48th Street to improve the drainage in that area as well, which was affected in 2018. There's been other projects that we've started and completed during that time. So the answer to your question is drainage has dramatically been better, been improved over the last 4 years.
Thank you, sir. Let's see. Okay, we're going to go to District 6, Larry Esparza.
Thank you. Yeah, so important or key to preparing for flooding and issues like that is preparation and being proactive. As a trustee for the school district, we've worked in conjunction with our city leaders and leveraged federal dollars to form retention ponds. We have one at Jackson Elementary, one at Morris, one at McAuliffe, and most recently over at Lincoln, the former Lincoln Junior High Middle School. We were able to utilize federal dollars to pay for these projects. What they do is remove the water quickly off the roadways and out of the homes and into the floodway. This is something very similar to what the county is doing currently across the valley to improve flooding. They're creating these retention ponds as a attempt to improve the floodway. It gets the water out of the homes and protects our citizens and our residents. And I think that's important to.
Thank you, sir.
What's key here is.
Thank you. Pepe, you're up next. 1 minute, sir.
Thank you. Before the time starts, I just want to apologize because I have to leave, and I advised the McAllen Citizens League about it. I have a previous commitment. So after this question,
sir.
I need to go. But yes, now let's start it. So drainage is super important. The worst enemy of the street and safety is water, and we have to be very conscious of that. There's a project that Commissioner Eli Torres in Precinct 4 just started, and it was a groundbreaking, which is the South Main Drain. And mostly of the water from McAllen and Edinburgh goes to that South Main Drain, and it's going to be expanded. That's going to get us to get the water out of the streets and the homes as soon as possible. Drainage is very important in the county level as well, because in Precinct 1 and the other precinct is where all the expansions come out. You know, as soon as they expand over there, all the flow is going to go smooth and easy all the way to the Laguna Madre. And it's important to understand that, because if we have our drainage fine and we don't have it fine in the other parts of the country, the water is going to backflow and we get in trouble. So that is very important. In 2018, we passed a bond in McAllen for drainage. It's been utilized well. we need to make sure that the other projects are going to be finished and the money is allocated correctly.
Very good. Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Rankin, next question, please.
The State Senator Juan Chuy Hinojosa, who represents a good part of McAllen in a district that goes all the way up to Corpus, has introduced a bill in the legislature, which would, it's already been reported out of committee with unanimous endorsement, that would do away with, it's directly, the bill directly names Irrigation District 3, which supplies most of the water to McAllen, which is then purified and sent out to homes for drinking. The bill would do away with District 3 and essentially pave the way for the city of McAllen to take it over, and there'd be no more District 3. Although the city, I was told by one commissioner, had nothing to do with its introduction, the utility manager, Mr. Vega, did go testify in favor of it. Do you think, do you endorse this bill or oppose this bill?
We will start at the bottom of the list, District 6. Larry Esparza, please. 1 minute.
Thank you. So obviously the citizens don't have it's not an issue that we are going to vote on. This is something that's before the legislators. The Water District provides a service for our community. They've done it for many years. I've read some of the reports. There's pros and cons. My understanding in doing away with it, it would save the residents cost in providing their water services. So I guess we'll just wait and see what the legislators decide to do on it. And if they do abolish the Water District, hopefully the savings will be passed on to the consumer.
Thank you, Larry. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll move to District 3 and start with Mr. Quintanilla, please.
Yes.
1 minute.
Thank you for that question. That the bill that is introduced was not on the city's legislative agenda. It wasn't one of my priorities either. But nonetheless, has been introduced, and we'll see what the legislature has to say. I can tell you that it seems to be a little redundant, the services that they provide and the services that we provide. And however, what's obvious is that the fees that we've been charged throughout the years, they've been excessive. In order for us to get through Bicentennial and for us to do other things, access through their right of way, those fees have been excessive, and it's really not right for the taxpayer because we're all servicing the same people. And so we'll see if it does get passed. The voters will have an opportunity to vote for it, and so we'll see how that goes.
Thank you, Omar. Ms. Tamaz, please.
With any decision making that impacts our residents in McAllen, and this is something that the legislature is managing, we do need to go ahead and identify the P&L. Who is truly profiting about this? Who is truly getting, ultimately in the past 5 years, when you look at the P&L, are the residents really benefiting or are they getting impacted? Is the city really getting a benefit or are they getting impacted? Once you go ahead and look into that and you identify the pros and the cons, then if it helps the residents, we support the initiative. If it's impacting our community and our residents, it's something that we can move forward with. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, ma'am. We'll move on to Mario. Mr. Reyna, 1 minute, please.
Yes, thank you for the question. To me, this is an organization that was created by law, and I guess by law it'll be done away with. The Air Force was part of the Army at one time, so the Air Force became a separate organization in 1947. So the government has a tendency of rearranging itself when it better serves its citizens. So I, in particular, although I have not had any say in what's going on right now with the bill, I think the people that are presenting this bill have that in mind, that this is a situation where this irrigation system was created X number of years ago. is probably no longer needed at this point. So they're talking about it. And at the end, there's plenty of discussion between the representatives and the senators. And eventually the governor will make a choice on this matter. But I'm not at all shocked by the fact that the government wants to rearrange itself, because that's what they do all the time. So whatever happens is going to be good for the community.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Thompson.
Yes, sir. I only know enough of what I've read online. Well, I tend to read my news online. And what I've seen and what I've gathered is that it would definitely be a savings to the taxpayer. I agree with what Commissioner Quintanilla was saying regarding the excessive fees. The news medias tend to say that it's at least a $500,000 fee that the city is paying. It seems a bit redundant. I don't think we quite need that middleman. But again, I haven't seen enough out there to tell me the opposition view to it. But with what I've read thus far, I tend to agree with what I'm reading, which is yes, it should be eliminated.
Very good. Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Aguirre.
Well, this is a very, very complex, but also simple in other ways. Complex because we need to pump water from the river to our city. The thing here is the District 3, runs right through the middle of our city. It is only serving 5 to 6 farmers right now. The city taking it, as in the PUB or the city taking over, would definitely service those farmers without a doubt. But since it runs right through the middle of our city, there's a lot of other issues that makes it important for the city to control it. Now, the city, as in the PUB, pays $1.3 to $1.4 million a year for getting the water from the river to our water rights that we own, getting it to our reservoirs. Their total budget is $1.4 to $1.5 million. So we are over 90% of that budget. We will do justice for the farmers. We will do more justice for our citizens and ratepayers to save and control our
Thank you,
costs.
sir. Next question, and again, Mr. Aguirre, you'll start on the next question. Mr. Davis.
We once had a mayor who said he could see it before it happened. He could see it in his mind's eye before it happens. I think they call that the vision thing. Because some things need to be put in play now in order to come to fruition in the future. What is your vision for McAllen in the next 25, 50 years? What will it look like? How will it function?
Tony.
That's why, thank you. Boy, it's such a beautiful city. It has challenges, but being on the border has its challenges, but it also has its benefits. And the weather is great. There's a lot of good potential coming for our city. If it can be controlled right, if it can be beautified, if we could stay as a low cost of living area, it has a tremendous amount of potential. It is a long and narrow city, so it has to be controlled. Education is vital. The working with the county to eliminate our drainage problem, essential. There's money coming in from $42.5 million coming in to our city, and over $215 million coming into our county just now. We need to use it wisely for our future. I love this city. It will stay growing if we really put our minds together.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Thompson.
I think it's definitely something that we want to be seen, at least I know I want to be seen, as a destination city of sorts. I think we're ideally situated to accomplish that. I think we need to start thinking vertically, considering our land restrictions that we've got. Yes, we've got some land to the north, but at the end of the day, people even that live up in Tres Lagos complain about having to come, quote, down into McAllen, which is kind of silly because it's still McAllen. But I think we also need to collaborate with McAllen ISD. I don't think we've done a very good job of that. I think in order to keep people that are moving down here, doctors, professionals that are moving down here, the reason a lot of them leave is because of our school districts. And I think if there was more collaboration between the city and the school districts, we would be able to retain some of these people. I think we need to increase our police force. We're lacking, I believe, 28 police officers at this point that they're budgeted for, and we definitely need to become more business friendly. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We'll move on to District 3, Mr. Reyna.
Yeah, what I see for the city in the next 20, 25 years is that we will have absolutely more prosperity. And the way we're going to do that is by making sure that the way the city does business with the business community is that we need to become more efficient. And we will set up plans to do that. I also see that we will have major attractions. When I talk about major attractions, I'm talking to the scale of something like Six Flags or something similar. We need to do that to become a major destination city. Mm-hmm. Another thing that I see 20 to 25 years down the road is we're going to need a new airport. We need to. You know, this airport is capacity is going to be reached very soon, and we need to think about it. And the new place that I think we should build is Moorfield. That's an abandoned Air Force base northwest of McAllen. You know, those are the things that I see coming in the future, and we will see more parks. We need to see better traffic systems, because if it takes forever to get anywhere in McAllen, then businesses will decide to do something
different. Thank you, sir. Ms. Thames.
Thank you. The vision for McAllen, wow, that's extremely powerful. The goal is to make sure that we're growing, that we're retaining talent, that we're investing in our community. One of the things is that extremely important is that the district, for us to improve and invest in RGB literacy, we need to make sure that we have the best people and provide them the best service. It is extremely important that anything that we go ahead and do is that if we want to continue to grow, that we know that there's going to be challenges with it. For me, I'm a prime example. I have STC around my area, and when the school was active, traffic wasn't that great. But as a resident, I'm so proud for us to be able to have that school. And if I have to take 5 minutes, a little bit longer from going from 23rd to Ware Road, I'm extremely comfortable with that. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Larry, last man standing in District 6. You're up. 1 minute.
Chris,
I think you skipped somebody, didn't you?
Yeah.
Oh, Omar, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
You're absolutely right. Thank you for keeping me straight. Omar, I apologize.
Appreciate it. So what I
1
see
minute, sure.
McAllen over the next 20 to 25 years, I see the medical school becoming even more and more of a force for economic development in our city. With research and development, it's going to continue to expand. We're going to see it explode over the next 10, 15, 20 years. And that industry is going to be very impactful to our community. Also, technology. You know, there are technology companies that are in our area that we need to continue to foster, because that's really the way of the future. I see Untitled Bridge being able to facilitate commercial traffic. And what that's going to do, it's going to spur development on the north and on the south side, to be able to further, these companies to be able to push through Maquila equipment from here to over there. That's going to be a big incentive. Entertainment hub. We were in 2019. It was big in McAllen, and it's going to continue.
Very good. Thank you. Now, Larry.
Last man standing. That's right. Thank you, Chris. So just for the record, McAllen ISD has been an A-rated school district the last couple of years in a row. So I just want to make that clear. Can we be improved? Are there things to improve? Absolutely. Just like every program, there's things to be improved. McAllen School District, not McAllen, but the city of McAllen has a strategic plan. There's about 7 or 8 goals on there. One of them is to be a destination city. And what that requires, it's a lot of involvement from our community, not just our residents, but our business community, our medical community, all parts of life here in McAllen, to see what their needs are and what the needs are for our residents. And then we sit down as a community, as a group, and formulate ideas how we can do that. Obviously, one of the main things is traffic flow. We've seen the improvement on the highway system over here at the interchange and FAR. which directly affects McAllen. We see all the traffic backups there with hopefully the improvements that'll make life easier and better for people trying to get in and out of the city. So a lot of it has to do with planning, and I'm prepared to do that for our residents. Thank you, Christopher.
Bingo. Thank you very much. Next question, and Larry, you'll be first to answer. Mr.
Okay.
Davis Lincoln.
The putting a road in can take many years of planning, getting the land, assembling all the land that's needed before you even get to the construction. Given that by consensus, traffic in McAllen is terrible, and I'm not sure it's any better when you get onto the expressway. One person says they're nearly at capacity, and they haven't even blocked off the interchange, which will. What kind of road system? What needs to happen in order for people to be able to get to work, get to school, get from Tres Lagos down to the airport, or even further north down to the airport, or to shopping? Are you prepared to condemn land? All that stuff starts now. What's on your mind? What's your
Mr.
thinking?
Esparza.
Well, I've been told the secret is leave earlier. That's a tough one. The road improvements obviously have started. I mean, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, the interchange there, they've started the construction, and part of it is shut down. I mean, if you get by there about 4:30 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it's backed up in both directions. And actually going from McAllen west to east by 3 o'clock, it's backed up. There are many corridors that the city has worked on. Bicentennial headed all the way past to 107, Ware Road, 10th Street, and east-west corridors that the city has worked on to improve. I think what we need to do is help make our citizens or make them more aware of those options for them so that they can utilize. One of the things that, I lived in San Antonio when I was in law school, and we have the 311 app here. I would like to see that utilized or somehow give traffic flow information. I used it every time when I left the law school. I'd be able to follow the traffic flow and leave, decide when I wanted to leave earlier or later. But thank you, Christopher.
Omar, Mr. Quintanilla.
Thanks for that question. I think one of the things that we can do immediately it's fix the timing of our lights, and we're in the process of doing that. As soon as traffic begins to normalize as it was prior to the pandemic, which it already has been, we're going to finalize the schedule there and be able to time these lights so that you're not catching a red light continuously. And so that's step number one. I think that our city needs overall just needs a growth plan, and we're going to be working on that in the next 6 months to be able to update our development plan, master development plan for the whole city. I think if we have smart growth, we're not going to have a school that's in a major thoroughfare, and so we need to be able to have smart growth, and that's going to help us tremendously.
Thank you, sir. Delma.
With making the changes with our infrastructure and our traffic, another thing other than, of course, making sure that we're improving our roads, it's also how enticing are we making shareable rides. We have a great metro system that only works in certain areas of McAllen. Do we need something else to make sure that we're being able to move faster from north to south? We live in an environment that we love to drive our cars, we love to drive our big trucks. That costs us more space and that causes more congestion. I know that in any other big city, being able to jump on the metro is extremely effective. Thank you.
Thank you. And now Mario.
Yes, thank you so much for that question. And obviously, I do believe that we need to synchronize our lights because anytime I get on Business 83, I get a heart attack. It's lights all over the place. So I do my best to avoid it. But we're gonna have to also think about traffic flow. I can remember the downtown area being a two-way operation, two-way streets. Nowadays we have one way in the downtown area. So, I can see where we can probably we have to think about this. We have to probably think about maybe making 10th Street one way and 23rd a different way. and think about how to get to Tres Lagos in sooner than 35 minutes. So we have to think about perhaps, even that kind of traffic flow, make it into a one-way in specific areas and have another street coming backwards from Tres Lagos. Because, if it's going to take this long to get to Tres Lagos, then it's going to become very difficult for us to continue to prosper. So we need to really think about those kind of traffic flow situations.
Thank you, sir. Lucia, please.
This was one of the things I was talking about earlier about there being a disconnect. I think this light synchronization has been something that has been before the city of McAllen at least twice before. If I'm correct, this is the third study we've done. It's not the first time that we wanted to do this. There's a foresight plan that lays it out. I think this is where we need to have a fresh perspective and get someone in there to make sure and follow through, that the leadership in place actually make sure that these things get done and not just get studied and nothing happens with it. I also agree with Mrs. Thames on the issue of public transportation. We're definitely lacking in it. In larger cities, you have people that bike to work, people that walk to work. We're just not that kind of a friendly city that allows for that. So in terms of, quote, smart growth, when you hear Commissioner Quintanilla say that, I think it has to include more sidewalks so that people are interested, that people that are interested are able to walk to work or bike to work. I know I could do it here from my house to work, but it's just not friendly enough to do that with the streets that we have in place. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Tony. You're muted, Tony.
I'm
You're
muted.
muted. There
I'm
you
sorry. Here I
There
go.
you-
I've served 27 years in the Public Utility Board, and I studied it very hard. I worked hard on it to make sure that it's a good system. I'm going to do the same thing. I could throw out a lot of ideas. I have to get in there. I've got to look at what's going on, how it's being done, what we're looking already and doing, and then analyze the whole situation. I've lived in this city. I know that traffic is a major, major problem. Transportation, both east and west and north and south. We're a long and narrow city, but all I can say is people know me as a hard worker. I'm gonna get to it. I will pledge that I will do as much as I did for the PUB. I'll do it for the city, and this traffic and drainage is a major, major concern of all of us here, and I will do my job. I'll work on getting it better.
Thank you, sir. I must say we are very spoiled here in McAllen. Try moving to Planet Houston and see what goes on. Mr. Davis, next question, and we'll start with Mr. Aguirre on the answers.
Every 10 years by the U.S. Constitution, we have to take a head count, the census. The census is delayed. The results will be delayed in getting to the legislatures and to the president because of COVID. Those figures are then given to legislative bodies to redistrict so that all state Senate seats, state House seats, city districts like McAllen, and county commission seats are of equal population. The thinking about this will have already started. McAllen does not have its own commissioner, its own precinct. It's split among three, I believe. Should the city lobby, push for, with the county commissioners, county government, its own commissioners court precinct?
Great question. Tony, what do you think?
Yes, we should.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
we should. It has delayed, but as soon as some figures, come out, we definitely need to look at where we're going to be aligned. We have been split, both state legislative, also in our U.S. representatives, but we need to try to make sure that most of our city, if not all of our city, is really looked at, and we get our own representatives in our area. I totally agree. We need to look at the census and these figures. We are going to have to get very, very involved to make sure that we're not shortchanged, and we're also not gerrymandered all over the place in representation.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Thompson.
I think it was a great thing, and I want to commend our current commissioners on what they did, and our mayor. what they did last year with COVID restrictions in terms of making sure that the census count was done accurately. You saw them out there phone banking. They were on social media. There was a true push to get the census done correctly. Hopefully, like Mr. Aguirre is saying, we get good numbers with that and we're able to do something. I think it's imperative that we do have more representation. And if I looked at it right, I'm not sure, Mr. Davis, I don't know if we're split between 3 or 4. But either way, McAllen divided into 3 or 4 is not a true representation of McAllen. But trying to get all of McAllen into one, I think then takes away from the idea that we're out there publicizing ourselves as a region and the Rio Grande Valley and trying to go up to Austin and get funds, but yet we want our own representation. I think at some point we're going to probably have to negotiate on that and say, you know what, there's probably going to be a portion of McAllen that isn't included in it, but we definitely have to try to get as many people as we can.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Reyna.
Yes, thank you for the question. Absolutely, I think we need to speak as a collective voice, and with all the gerrymandering that's going around, obviously that distorts a lot of what people are trying to say. But if we move forward and we want to be represented as a whole, doing as the question is referring to, I think that would be the best way to represent our community. And I think the idea of being a regional entity, that's in the back of my mind. But at the end, the best way that I think we can represent ourselves is by having a collective voice, and this is probably the best way of doing it.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Tamez.
So during the census, I had the great opportunity to work with tremendous leaders from McAllen and from the region, where we came together and created a plan, the RGV Census Scholarship, that we were able to gain $150,000 to give to students. The reality is there's so much disconnection on even completing the census. During our focus group, we would be able to identify that folks were scared to do the census because they felt that their taxes was going to get taken away. The disability check was going to get taken away. So there's still fear and disconnection in there. We need to work and collaborate as a region. We need to be able, we're so much stronger together. We work with Stark County leaders. We work with Cameron County leaders. We need to be able to keep collaborating as a region. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Quintanilla.
Well, the question was, should we continue to push, or should we push for one representative at the county level? I don't think it's necessary. I think we have great county commissioners. In District 3, we have Eddie Cantu that represents part of the district, Eli Torres that represents the northern part. And so we can go to our county commissioners and ask them for help, just like the partnership that we did with the Mission Lateral drainage expansion there. It's a great partnership. We need to continue to utilize our county commissioners and our county judge. So I wouldn't necessarily advocate for just one commissioner as we use the census numbers to make realignments there. I don't think it's necessary. I think we need to use the alignment that we have now, the commissioners that we have now, because they're advocating for us and they're doing a great job.
Perfect. Thank you. Mr. Esparza.
Thank you. So the turnout for the census was, I think, 50 or 60% in McAllen, which across the valley, I think probably across the state, and largely in part due to the pandemic, I'm sure. The estimated growth for the city, I think, is anticipated somewhere around 150, 160, which I don't think is quite accurate. And I think that's probably reflective in the number of responses we had to the census. As indicated, we work well with our county commissioners. And I think, when you start talking about taking people's, what they're helping you with, I think you're going to alienate our county leaders that have worked so well with us. So rather than start that process of trying to alienate them, let's continue building on the relationship that we have with our various county commissioners to make sure that the projects that are put forth not only benefit McAllen, but benefit the whole county. And I think that would probably be the better approach. as moving forward.
Thank you, sir. I think we have time for one more question, and we'll start with you, Larry, on the answers. Mr. Rankin.
Earlier in this broadcast, Commission candidate Tim Wilkins said, and he has since moved on, said he had exposed a major flaw in voting in the city of McAllen. City of McAllen has run its own elections the last, I don't know how many years, although that's in court right now. From what you know, did he expose them? Was a major flaw exposed in the way people vote in McAllen? Does it give you concern? What do you think?
So the issue that was brought forth, I think, had an easy fix, and I think they fixed it as far as making sure that the voting judge, election judge there, identified the correct precinct that you were supposed to vote in, and which should have been going on. I kind of remember that happening in the past. So I don't. And again, also my understanding is when they audited the numbers that occurred, or of the people that had voted, and there weren't any errors as far as people voting in the wrong district. Potentially, yes, it could have happened. I think one of the major concerns that I have, and I'm sure the city, they do a great job. The city secretary's office does a great job. With the school district, we've always contracted with the county. We've had no issues with them. One of the concerns I see, and I hear it out there at the polls, is people don't realize they've got to vote in 2 different stations. I think if they just have not one location, but one machine to vote off all the candidates on their city and school, it would facilitate and make things easier and more transparent and friendlier for the voters. Thank you.
Very good. Mr. Quintanilla.
Well, I think it's important to first let the public know that voter fraud did not happen. As you know, when you go and you register, you're going to sign your name and you're given a particular precinct, which identifies you with a district. And when you vote, that precinct and that district gets recorded. So at the end of the day, the city can audit and has audited and found that the votes that were cast based on the check-in matches what were cast at the end during the ballot process. And so there was no voter fraud. I think what Mr. Wilkins identified was a lack of instruction and training by the judges at the very beginning. They had to be reminded that they need to select which district, but that was it.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Ms. Thames.
One of my recommendations right now, and something that I would definitely work into working, is creating PSA announcements in a sense of the process that you're going to follow to go ahead when you're going to go to vote. Not just because you're there and it gives you the option to go ahead and select a different option. You as a citizen, you're not going to go ahead and make the decision of choosing something else. Are we experts? Are our residents experts at going through the process of whether there's a line or 2 lines? They might not be, but if we create an announcement, we work with the media and showcase how it should be, it gives them that opportunity. We already have very low turnout. And it's important as candidates, as leaders of the community, that we showcase how peaceful it is, that you could come in, cast your vote, nobody bothers you. Ultimately is that we want to make sure that every resident knows that you have the ability to come in, you walk in, you walk out, you vote for whoever you choose to. And at the end of the day, we're all going to be living here May the 2nd. So if you choose to vote for one of my opponents, we could still go have dinner. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Reyna.
Yes, I can remember from my law classes that there's the concept of the reasonable person concept. There is no way that anyone can create a perfect system. Maybe the nuclear codes are a perfect system, but when in this particular process, it is very easy to ensure that people are voting the right way. And if you vote the wrong way, then there has to be a reason. Perhaps the reason was that you didn't do something right, and we will correct it. Am I concerned about what happened? No, I'm not concerned at all, because I trust that the process is a very good process. And I trust that if we need to do an audit to clean out whomever did not vote properly, we can do that. And we can probably identify it on a daily basis, just by the way Omar was explaining this, that there is a way. You sign, you have an address, you have a precinct, we can tell which district you belong to, and we can check that very quickly. So I am not concerned about it.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Ms. Thompson.
It's, okay, can you hear me? It said unmute myself and I thought I was. I'm so sorry.
You
You're
can
on.
start now.
Okay, thank you. I do agree that there was no voter fraud. I think it was an intentional misleading. I know that right before Mr. Wilkins went in, he said, I'm about to go in and vote for the second time. When he came out, Commissioner Quintanilla, Commissioner Haddad were out there. They talked to him, they showed him what it was, and yet there were still postings that tend to shed a bad light on the city of McAllen. I think we have a good system in place, but I think the second point to this is that this is, again, the disconnect that I'm talking about that we've got internally is, why doesn't the school district do elections through the city of McAllen? If it's a concern that there's two different lines, then why wouldn't the school district come in through the city and get that done? It's a good system that we have in place. I believe in it. I trust in it. But aside from that, if we know and can collaborate with the school district, we, at least as a parent, I know that in the school district, they are wonderful in terms of being able to communicate with parents. So they could also communicate with voters to make them come out and vote, and we could use each other for that. I just don't think we're doing it correctly at this point.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Tony Aguirre, please, sir.
Well, I don't like to play Monday morning quarterback, okay? I didn't like the city going on its own and buying machines a few years back without the school district and them both getting together and having it all done with one voting machine, one voting system in our city. So if they didn't come together at that time, it should have stayed with the county. We should have been proactive with the county with our concerns, but we should have stayed together, because having us vote both in the school district and then in the city causes confusion. I think we all should be doing it all one way with one system. So no, I think that, and I don't have a problem that a problem existed and it was exposed and it was taken care of. But I think all along we should be voting with one system, and if we, the city and the school district are not together, we should stay with the county.
Thank you very much. Very good.
Mhm.
Wow. This is exactly what McAllen Citizens League is all about. On their behalf, thank you, all of you, for your generous service to the city and being a part of this great city. I want to also thank the McAllen Chamber of Commerce. They are a full partner with the Citizens League in helping us have these forums. I want to thank Davis and Judith for their participation. And we all look forward to the opportunity to have in-person meetings sometime in the future and continue the tradition of McAllen Citizens League. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.